You've heard Ali Tareen on Relu Katte. You've heard Rehan ul Haq on Sporting Myths. You've heard Ahmed and Usman Samiuddin on Buttafast. Not yet, but you probably will. And now welcome to Backward Points version of the PSL retention preview, review, whatever you want to call it, with me. My name is Nada Sayed, and with me as always is my brother, co-host, coach, instructor, and apparently PSL Draft aficionado, Peshawar Zalmi.
Hello and welcome to the PSL 10 Draft Preview.
I already did the intro.
I can even say PSL X if you want to be Roman.
I don't. I really don't. I want to know. So I think we should give the listeners a little bit of a context because the retentions were announced quite a while ago. I want to say almost a week ago, and we didn't do a podcast on it. Let's just be clear. And it's mainly because I thought that the drafts are a little bit bigger of a story. Boy, was I proven wrong. The past 7 days on Pakistani cricket Twitter, especially PSL Twitter, I mean, it's just like the whole discourse has changed on how the PSL functions, what the PCB's roles are in it. A bombshell vent discussion podcast from Ali Tareen, 2.5 hours. I listened to every single minute of it. Honestly, Ali Tareen, if you're listening, you should have your own podcast. It was very entertaining. He spoke from the heart. And this sounded like a man who was frustrated from the system, from just the expectations of what he was supposed to do as an owner of a, PSL winning franchise. And he was just left in the dark many times and just completely not taken into account, making tough and big decisions when it came to the PSL. And honestly, we've been from the outside screaming about similar situations, about how the mismanagement of the PCB has just been to an all-time high. This cannot keep going, yada, yada, yada. And this was a very interesting take from someone who was in the system, who was within the boundaries of how the PCB works, how the PSL works. So that's why I think you kind of convinced me that this is the right time to do this podcast. First and foremost, before anything, we need to firstly understand how the PSL draft works. Now, full disclosure, I don't even get how the NBA draft works. I don't get how any of these draft systems works. I feel like the lift on me understanding them is too high. So this is why I give the entire responsibility to Bashar, who is ironically or unironically wearing a United hoodie. Would you want to explain yourself?
Am I? I was going to rock my United hat as well, but I was like, that's too much merch in one episode.
I mean, the PSL is sort of taking wind, and we've already started getting, Islamabad United agenda comments. And I'm like, that's really early. And then I realized, the draft and the retentions and all that is happening. So the winds have changed, Bashar. We're now finally back to the Islamabad United agenda that is on your left.
That partnership has put a stamp on us, and I don't think we will ever be able to come out of that, even though in the last T20 World Cup, we were extremely critical of Shadab, Azam, sometimes Salman Agha, Naseem Shah's bowling recently. But despite that, we get a lot of these comments saying that we are Islamabad United agenda, payroll, whatever it is. Anyways, this podcast, I want to talk about how the draft works.
Please, teach me.
Local player category renewals, retentions. And then lastly, we'll talk about just looking forward to the draft, which is next week. Some of the big players that have signed up. What can we expect? So just starting off with retentions, the one thing that we are retaining consistently is the partnership with Yashi Sports.
Yes.
Canada's home of cricket. Guys, they've given us a beautiful, beautiful code, BP10, for 10% off your purchase at yashisports.com. Yashi Sports is where you go, where expert advice meets top quality equipment. The Venn diagram of that is yashisports.com. Bats right here. Another bat behind you. What can you say?
I mean, this is the partnership that everyone really wants, and the one partnership that everyone deserves, honestly, the BP10 partnership. If we have one agenda, it's not the Islamabad agenda. It's not the Pakistan agenda. It's the Yashi Sports agenda, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And we're here to deliver it on all fronts. Guys, use the BP10 code. This is the time, the moment. It's all yours. PSL is coming around. Champions Trophy is coming around. Our nets are happening in a couple of weeks. Shared nets are starting. A lot of the other clubs around the GTA, North America, Canada, they're restarting their net sessions. This is the best time to get your equipment. And what better way to do it with our code? Help support the podcast, and help the podcast support you in your cricketing journey.
And help the supporters of the podcast, which is Yashi Sports. Starting off with PSL local player category renewals. Now, when this first announced, my understanding was that these are the retentions. And so I made a mistake by posting that on our Backward Point Instagram story saying that, oh my God, player retentions are here. And then I was corrected by fellow Backward Pointer saying that this is actually just the category renewals of these players.
What does that mean?
No, I was just curious, like, what the hell does that even mean? Like
Exactly.
you said, what are category renewals? How do these happen? Who votes for them? And then luckily, thankfully, there was a podcast recently on Sporting Myths, which is a podcast hosted by Rehan Haq.
I just
He
mentioned
is
that.
the general manager of Islamabad United. And he went through details of exactly how the PSL draft works, how category renewals work. And I've taken some notes from him, some notes from Ali Tareen, and I will try my best to condense that information and try to relay it in this section of the podcast.
I think a lot of people, if Bashar is wrong, please feel free to just completely grill him in the podcast comments. We now read comments on Spotify and Apple Music as well. So if you're a listener, pull over and just give him a mouthful.
Absolutely. I encourage constructive, positive criticism. I do not claim to be an expert. I'm just trying my best to understand and relay what I
How about
I
we
know.
do this? I'll be the relay, like the layman, and you be the expert. Explain to me how the PSL local category renewals work.
So before the draft happens, what's important is that the local players categories get renewed. So then you can know how many players you're retaining in which category, because there's limitations. So there's 6 teams in the PSL, and how these renewals work is that 5 of the teams vote for the 6 teams players, and they'll vote on, let's say, Naseem Shah. They'll be like, okay, 5 teams are going to be saying that Naseem Shah is a platinum player. How do they determine that? It's based off of Naseem Shah's past performances in the PSL, recent performances, considering is he a Pakistan national player? And then the other thing could be his perceived brand value. So based on that, Naseem Shah was in platinum, Shadab Khan was in platinum, despite Shadab Khan's recent international performances not being to a high standard. Shadab was the player of the tournament in the last PSL based off of that. And then based off of Shadab's brand value, they determined the 5 teams, aside from Islamabad United, voted that Shadab, Naseem are platinum players.
Now, in your opinion, is that a fair model of selection?
I think it's tough. Thinking of this is happening in the Pakistan Super League, I don't know exactly what the relationship between these 6 teams are, but you would imagine that sometimes it could be possible to scheme against one team and just vote for their players to be in a higher category. But what I've heard is that there is a good relationship amongst them, and teams want players to be in their rightful categories. I heard Ali Tareen being very pissed off with the fact that Osama Mir was in platinum. But again, you got to look at Osama Mir's recent performances in the PSL. The fact that he was one of the highest wicket takers, his economy was good, and then right now he's also a globetrotter playing the Big Bash and other leagues.
So what category is Osama Mir in?
He's in platinum.
So platinum is the highest category. So let's just break down the category. It goes platinum, diamond, gold, silver, emerging, with platinum being the highest and the highest paid, and emerging being the lowest.
Right.
Correct?
So just the pay scale of these categories, platinum, like you said, is the highest paid category. And sources say that players get paid up to 170K USD in the platinum category. So Babar Azam could get paid 170K, but because this is a range of numbers, Osama Mir could get paid like 120K. And that would still be platinum.
What is the range for platinum?
I don't know the exact range, but I would assume it's like 120 to 170.
Why wouldn't you increase the cap on these salaries?
I think the PSL is on a budget. The teams have a specific budget, and there were talks of direct signings where you can pay players up to 300K, 400K, and that would mean that we might have seen like bigger names in the PSL. But for now, there are these salary caps.
But as I understand it, the direct signing also has drawbacks. Correct?
Correct.
Because that was, again, the Ali Tareen podcast. If you guys haven't listened to it, guys, it's 2.5 hours. Listen to that and then come back here. But as I understand it, he was saying that if the pool of the direct signing players is limited, 6 or 7 or 8 players, then there might just not be direct signings available. Because what if you want a wicket keeper batsman and there's only one of them and he's taken away, and then now you don't really need anybody else because you just needed that one particular type of player.
And then your hand might be forced to take like a fast bowler, which you already
which
have.
you don't want. Yeah, I want to know how the trade system works in the PSL draft system.
So trades can work if you are trading a player in the same category. So for example, if Salman Agha is in diamond and Muhammad Amir is in diamond, then Quetta and Islamabad can be like, do you want to trade players? Or if you're trading players in different categories, you can trade a player plus a pick. So for example, I remember last year's biggest trade was Naseem Shah going from Quetta to Islamabad. And what Islamabad offered in terms of Naseem Shah was 2 players, Wasim Jr. and Abrar Ahmed. And they offered them a first round platinum pick for Naseem Shah.
And who was that?
I don't know who they picked in that category, but
okay, I'll double check that.
They got that player.
Interesting. Okay, so we're
and then also there was another pick, very straightforward trade. Karachi Kings took Hassan Ali from Islamabad United, and Islamabad United took Imad Wasim from Karachi Kings because Karachi needed a pacer, Islamabad needed a left arm spinning all-rounder.
So let me just double check here. Quetta.
They probably got Jason Roy or something.
So okay, yeah, probably yeah.
They got a platinum pick. Is what's the point is
the platinum pick for Quetta in 2024 was Riley Rousseau.
Right.
So that's very interesting that that's the case.
And Riley was also their captain.
Sorry, platinum Quetta got Sherfane Rutherford, I think.
Okay, but the point is they got a platinum pick.
Wikipedia is telling me. Don't yell at me if I'm wrong. Just fix it in the comments below.
They got a platinum pick.
They got a platinum pick. Okay, interesting. I just wanted to know because it's really interesting to see what picks teams like. One of the really crazy draft picks from 1998, I believe, was when Kobe was in the draft, first time rookie, and Philly had the chance to get Kobe and they passed, and Lakers got Kobe. That's like stuff like that is really interesting to me. Like the whole trajectory of Kobe Bryant being in the Phillies would have just been completely different. You know, maybe he wouldn't have a dynasty with Shaq. Like that's the stuff that I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about platinum picks and giving a pick away and who actually was that pick. I think that's just a fascinating aspect of the whole draft system to me.
So category renewals, typically if there is a unanimous vote on the player's category and teams agree, that's the category decided. But if there's a disagreement or a split voting on the player's category, then it goes to the selection committee, which is comprised of Asad Shafiq, Aleem Dar, and then they decide the final category of the players. So for example,
a couple more people in there, I think.
Yeah, so Salman Ali Agha was in diamond, and I think there was a 3-2 split between people saying he should be in gold and diamond. And then his name was given to the selection committee, which eventually decided that he should be in diamond. Now, there's one more thing you can do with respect to categories and roles. There's a mentor rule. The mentor rule basically says that if a player is retired and he has over 100 international appearances, you can take them down a category, but still pay them a higher category fees. For example, Quetta Gladiators has Muhammad Amir as their ambassador, plus he is in the diamond category, which means that they're paying him the platinum salary, but they're able to retain him in the diamond category.
So they basically free up a space for platinum and they can get somebody else in.
Correct. In Islamabad United, it's the same thing with Imad Wasim. He's in diamond, he's also the mentor, so he gets the platinum salary, which frees him up a space to have a platinum pick.
Interesting.
And the other cool rule is of the ambassador.
Yeah.
So the ambassador does the same exact thing where you can sort like degrade a player to a lower category, but pay them a higher category salary. So for example, Islamabad United has Salman Ali Agha in gold, but because he's the brand ambassador, they're paying him the diamond salary. So that again frees up a space in the higher category to get a bigger player or just a bigger name.
There's another rule in there, the exception. Players can sometimes be picked in lower categories and then be given extra money from commercials.
That's correct. So for example, like Lahore Qalandars has David Wiese, and they've picked him in silver. I don't know how they've managed to talk him through that, but they're probably paying him the highest salary possible in silver, which is like 25K USD. And plus they're giving him some budget from commercial rights. And probably similar things with Colin Munro. Colin Munro is in silver in Islamabad United, and they're probably giving him some more perks here and there, incentives that bump up his pay.
All right. Interesting. So now I'm up to pace. I'm still a little bit foggy. I don't know if this draft system is like squeaky clean. I think it's a bit flawed. There are definitely ways that I can see a system like this can easily be manipulated by teams or environments like Pakistan. I can see how that can happen. So I don't know if this is a foolproof system. Definitely would need some amendments. But again, listening to Ali Tareen, I'm like, I can't even believe this. We're in the 10th year of this thing. This thing has been shot in the foot so many times that we're just glad that it's still running. So retentions for each team. Let's talk about it. Who got retained from each team and where?
So a team can retain a maximum of 8 players from the last season.
And these are all local players.
Local players, some are foreign as well. So Colin Monroe is a foreign player from Islamabad. David Wiese is a foreign player from Lahore. Akil Hussain is a foreign player from Quetta. So you can do mix and match from foreign players and local players. Rashid Khan used to be a permanent retainee of Lahore in the past.
Nowhere to be seen.
Because of the IPL. So they actually retained him, I believe, last year in silver category, but they had to release him because obviously he's preferred the IPL over the PSL this year.
Yeah, no, I mean, I get that, Rashid.
So teams have to pick a minimum of 1 player in the platinum category, local player, and a maximum of 2 local players in the platinum category. So for example, Peshawar Zalmi has Babar Azam and Saim Ayub in the platinum category. Karachi and Quetta have the platinum category blank. So
what does that mean?
That means that at minimum, they need 1 local player from Pakistan in the platinum category. And then they can have an opportunity to have 2 foreign players in the platinum category.
Okay, interesting. So they're keeping their options open for the draft, correct?
Correct. Yeah. And how this draft and these picks are designed is that because you can only retain 8 players from the past year, it's kind of like a level playing field where even if you've won last year, it's hard to have the same players and win again, go back to back, which is why I think it's quite incredible how Lahore Qalandars have won back to back PSL 7 and 8. The teams that finish last get initial picks in the next year's draft. So, for example, Lahore Qalandars was bottom of the table last year, and this year they had the first pick. So it gives a balancing opportunity for teams if you perform poorly in the past season to come back, get better picks, and try to win again.
This is very similar to the NBA. The NBA has a percentage system. If you're in the bottom table from your East or West conferences, you just have a better chance of being, the first 5 picks in a lottery. So very interesting.
Let's go team by team and talk about the retentions, the players they've released, and who they might be looking to pick up. So starting off with Islamabad United, for some reason, I think. Platinum picks, Shadab Khan, Naseem Shah. Diamond picks, Imad Wasim, who is also the mentor, and then Azam Khan is also in diamond. Haider Ali, Saman Ali Agha in gold, and then Colin Monroe, Roman Reis in silver. The arrow beside Roman Reis states that he's been relegated a category. That basically happens when a team requests for a relegation for a player to be brought down a category. And if the team and the player are both in agreement, that can happen, and then they're able to retain them.
Is there a cap on how many gold, silver, and emerging players you can have?
There are. I don't know the exact number, but there is a cap. And
so there's a cap on all the categories, basically.
Correct. So you can have maximum of 3 players in the platinum.
How many in the diamond?
I think 4.
Okay.
I think 4. Yeah, I don't know exactly what the number is for each category and the number of players. But I believe you need to have at least 2 emerging players. And then one of them has to play in the
11.
Yeah, or actually 3 emerging players, because last year Shamil Hussain, Ubaid Shah, and Hunan Shah were all 3 in the emerging category. And I think Hunan Shah was a prominent figure in Islamabad playing 11.
Interesting. All right, I'm on board. So Islamabad United retained all these players. Thoughts? Feelings?
First, there were rumors on Naseem Shah leaving Islamabad United.
You started a rumor. You told me off the record, you were like, yo, I just was on Islamabad United's Instagram page and they unfollowed Naseem.
So there's no confirmation on whether they followed him to begin with.
There we go. They don't follow us.
They don't follow us.
And we worked with them for a whole season. So I don't know what to tell you.
So the news was on Twitter that, oh my God, Naseem Shah has been unfollowed by Islamabad United, and I don't think he follows them as well. So there's beef going on. He might get traded to some other team. Peshawar Zalmi is happening. But turns out all fluff. All talks of trades this whole season has been just conversation, nothing actual tangible coming out of them. Shadab and Naseem in Platinum, I think it's a no-brainer. Shadab, a player of the tournament last year, impact player in the PSL. Say what you want about him in the greens, but when he's in the reds, different player, captain, strategic. Naseem Shah, great baller, improving his batting, brand value. Commercial companies love Naseem Shah to be on their posters.
And we love him on the podcast, season 2. I mean, it's not announced. Wait, it's not announced. Season 2 is not announced. We're still in talks, but if it happens, it'll be great.
Imad Wasim as a mentor, I think in the diamond category, he was clutch for them last season. Player of the match in the eliminator plus the finals.
I have thoughts about that. It doesn't sit right with me.
What are your thoughts?
Diamond's a bit too high for Imad Wasim. And
again, you have to look at his performances in the last PSL.
How about I look at his age? Isn't he like in his mid-30s?
Well, what does age have to do? If he's hitting the ball right, if he's bowling the balls in the right area, age is just a number.
I guess. I don't know. It just seems pretty high to me still.
How old is Usman
Khwaja? Because he's Imad Wasim, and then he's Imad Wasim in the diamond category, and then he's also getting compensated as a
mentor,
right?
So essentially,
he's getting
virtually
platinum money.
In the platinum category.
Yeah, it's high.
Well, he was their clutch player last season. He won the matches.
It's high.
The game against Multan, 7 off 2 balls, 8-6, and a 4. They win the match. The final match takes 5 wickets.
I hear you, but I think the 2024 T20 World Cup hangover is still kind of there. It feels high.
Again,
and you know it feels high.
According to those performances, Shadab should then also not be in platinum.
Shadab is
Iftikhar should also not be in platinum.
Islamabad, with Shadab and Islamabad, they go way back, season 2 and onwards.
Oh, so now it goes way back.
No, but also Shadab is what, 30? He's like...
Shadab is 25, 26.
Okay, then even better. Like the comparison is insane. Like Shadab Khan is a young, emerging player who will be with Islamabad United for years to come. Investing in him makes sense. Giving basically platinum money to Imad Wasim seems weird to me.
I just think
that's my take.
I just think you're scarred from that one match against India.
It's not the one match though, is it?
His PSL performances have been top notch, and like I said, he was clutch for them last season. Like so clutch that he made a comeback.
Yeah,
back from retirement to the Pakistan team.
I hear you. I get the 4 Imad Wasim and Diamond. I just think he's still too high with the mentor fee and everything. That's just my opinion. Azam and Diamond seems fair to me. Haider in gold is fine. Saman Yaga in gold, a bit low in my opinion.
He's also brand ambassador, so he gets diamond money.
And then that's what I was just going to say to you. Colin Monroe in silver, and then Roman Reis got relegated down to silver as well. So everything else seems fair to me.
I think the biggest news was that Islamabad had to release Fahim Ashraf, who was with Islamabad since season 3, won 2 PSLs with them. Critical member of their squad. I don't think Fahim Ashraf has performed that well with the bat for Pakistan, as well as he had for Islamabad United. And 22 average, 140 plus strike rate. He's won them games out of nowhere. Great baller for them, good economy, and gun fielder. So probably their toughest release this season.
Yeah, we saw a lot of the Islamabad United camp people just posting in favor of him and how sad it is, but it's just part of the game. So respects.
Yeah. Also, Alex Hale's gone. I think Islamabad is going to be eyeing a foreign player in the platinum category or diamond category as an opener. Islamabad has a history of foreign players in their top order. Luke Ronke, Brad Haddon, Shane Watson,
Colin Monroe,
Peter Sterling, right? All of these players. So I think they prefer foreign players in their as openers.
Do you want to take any names? Do you think that might be filling in that spot?
If I'm being honest, I would love to see someone like Finn Allen in Islamabad. Like I just feel like he fits into the Islamabad United ruthless power play approach.
But what about a David Warner with the right-left combination with Monroe?
So the problem is that Islamabad has the 6th pick, and I think David Warner might be picked before that, so they might not get.
So Multan said that they want to pick him, right? That's one opening.
My bet for who Multan will pick is Usman Khwaja.
I think that too,
because he kept hinting a left-handed player. Usman Khwaja strikes at 150 plus in the PSL. He's one of the top players in the world in Australia's test team. Lots of runs in the Big Bash and great player of spin. The PSL is being pushed back to the April-May window, so pitches might be more dry and we might see more spin on offer, which is why Usman Khwaja might be a key player.
I think we talked to him during the GT20 of this past year, and he told us on and off the record that he's eyeing interest in the PSL. He would love to go back. Islamabad United had a great time with him. I think just the PSL in general is something that fits his vibe, so I'm interested in that.
Yeah, and then he was also just wondering if the window gets moved on, he can come and play. So
Yeah.
glad to see him sign
It's
up.
happening. Let's go to my favorite team of all time, Karachi Kings, Laga ke Wings, Ord Jayenge or something like that. Horrible, horrible anthem. This franchise has nothing going on for it. It just pains me. I'm so glad I found Islamabad United in a dark and hopeless place. And Karachi Kings just remains to be that dark and hopeless place. Give me Karachi Kings straight, bro. What's going on here?
I think Karachi are improving though. Like they had a few.
Heather Azhar is your guy, apparently.
Yeah, no, he's not my guy, but like things have been improving. Like
I mean, you've talked fondly of
their
him.
whole brand image has improved once they've like let go of a few players.
I think
have
it's
a new core.
It doesn't matter about the brand image. I think it's the owners who are the problem.
I don't know what to say about that.
Just say yes or no if I'm right or wrong.
I don't think the owners have much to do. I just don't like their kit. I don't like their songs. I don't like.
And who's approving all this?
Well, it's not just the owner.
I mean, come on, somebody's funding this gold-plated number thing that's going on. Somebody's funding this, and it's the owners. I don't know.
They're the Karachi Kings. They're kings.
Doesn't matter.
Hence the gold numbers on the back.
Since the IPL, this gold kit framing has looked really cringe. And I know I have a lot of support on this from the fans out there. Guys, if you agree with me, if the gold, silver, this shiny kitting looks cringe to you as well, please voice your opinions because I think it looks horrible, especially on TV at night when the lights are on. It just looks like this cheap aluminum. I don't know. It's not the vibe. And I'm sad to say this because I used to support Karachi when I was an avid PSL follower back in the early years, and I let go of it. But yeah, this is just, it's painful. They don't have a starter player. They don't have a brand player. They're not able to lift anybody from the ground up. They don't have a guy who they can build their team around. This is, I think, a really good segue into the whole. Was Peshawar going to release Saim Ayub into Karachi, and then Karachi was going to draft him and build his team around? Like, there was this whole rumors going on. Would you like to clarify what that was?
So this story is allegedly, I gotta say allegedly, I don't want to get sued, but apparently Saim Ayub was offered a lot more money than the platinum category to move from Zalmi to Karachi Kings. I think Zalmi is paying him 170k USD, which is probably the max they can pay. But Karachi Kings was offering him 220k USD for the platinum category, plus captaincy Karachi Kings. Apparently, allegedly, Saim Ayub was interested in leaving Zalmi to go to Karachi Kings, his hometown city. But Peshawar Zalmi was like, no, we invested in you since you were in the diamond category last year. And finally, you're in your prime. Now is the time for us to reap the rewards. Saim wanted to go back into the draft, but Zalmi is like, if you go back in the draft, we will use the right to match card and pick you back in Zalmi. So don't make the mistake of going in the draft. And apparently a very similar story with Mohammad Haris, who I think wanted to leave Peshawar Zalmi as well.
This is, again, very NBA-esque team. This reminds me of James Harden. Remember that whole Phillies run? Was it Phillies or Houston run? Where he was just not playing, was just airballing, looking fat, and then he just wanted to release, and he got released.
What do you make of it?
I think the rumors hold some sort of ground. I can see that.
No, what do you make of Zalmi? Saim wanting to leave Zalmi to go to Karachi.
I think he just wants to be the star player and wants a franchise to be built around him, like Zalmi built it around Babar. And I think that's a fair ask. If you're a young and upcoming player, and if you can have a career like Shadab did with Islamabad, with your home city of Karachi, and basically lift that dead franchise from the freaking ashes, then Saim Ayub is the guy to do it. And honestly, if Saim had moved to Karachi, I think our Karachi agenda would have been complete. That would have been like the pinnacle of it. The crown on the top, cherry on the top, done. Karachi agenda has arrived. It doesn't get better than this.
I may have reconsidered my support to Karachi.
I would have split my support if that was the case, for sure.
But I think also from like Peshawar's point of view, like they've invested into Saim since the past 2 seasons. He was in the diamond category. And before that, he was in the emerging category for Quetta. Quetta played him. He opened with Chris Gayle, flopped that whole season. And then, in Pakistan, typically your career would be finished. But Saim went back, did some work, was the second highest run scorer, I believe, in the National T20 Cup of 2022. And then Zalmi picked him up in 2023 in the diamond category. So now is the time for Zalmi to reap the rewards that they've invested into Saim Ayub. So I'm a bit leaning towards Zalmi. At the same time, I do feel like players should have some sort of
Autonomy.
on
Yeah.
where they want to play. Like, for example, I think one of the reasons why Naseem left Quetta was because he just wanted a fresh start with a different team, and he was also on board of leaving Quetta.
Yeah, I get it. I totally agree with that. So what do Karachi Kings do? Their diamond and emerging is completely empty. They have
They got Hassan Ali
Hassan
and
Ali,
James Vince in Diamond.
sorry, I meant their platinum and emerging is completely empty. They have in diamond, they have Hassan Ali and James Vince, which is again really high for Hassan Ali
Hassan Ali is one of the highest wicket takers in the PSL. I don't know what you're saying.
of all time.
Of all time.
How many wickets did he take in the previous season?
Actually, I think 14 wickets in 8 or 9 matches at a economy of about around 8, which is phenomenal numbers.
Phenomenal numbers
For the PSL, which has a high scoring
that are
history.
not, again, they're not translating to wins. When was the last time Karachi Kings made it to the playoffs?
They won 4 games last season, which is the same wins that they got in the past 2 years combined.
All right, so it's bad.
It's improving.
I mean, it's the same. If you're saying they have the same wins that they've had,
No. So they had 4 wins last year.
which was
They had 4 wins and the previous
last
2
2
years
years. Oh,
combined.
wow, okay.
Combined. So they won 1 game.
So they used to get 30 out of 100. Now they get 50 out of 100.
Correct. So it's a slight improvement. You know?
All right. Good luck, Karachi. That's all I'm gonna say. They got Shan Masood in there in gold. He got relegated, and Irfan Khan Niazi stays in gold. I think that's one good.
I think
prospect.
Irfan Khan Niazi got bumped up, but I think he was in emerging last year.
And then Arafat Minhas, Tim Seifert, and Zahid Mahmood, leg spinner.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. I haven't heard that name in a while, man. This is why I don't like Karachi. Is so boring. I'm sorry to say.
Zahid Mahmood as
Zahid
your strike
Mahmood.
leg spinner.
Yeah, that's tough, man. That's tough on you. Let's go to Peshawar, man. I'm sick with this Karachi King stuff.
They also released Shoaib Malik, by the way.
Oh, that's news.
He's going
isn't it?
back in the draft.
He's going. Oh my god, the day of the draft, and he gets unpicked. Do you think he's going back as a platinum player, isn't he?
No. He was, I believe he was in Diamond.
That's still very high for sure.
Very high for somebody who hasn't played for Pakistan in
5 years,
4 years.
4 years. Dang, it's been a while. Yeah. Good luck, Shoaib Malik.
Talking about Peshawar Zalmi, let's talk about their retentions. They got Babar Azam, Saim Ayub in the platinum category, Mohammad Haris in diamond. They got Sufyan Mukim, Arif Yaqub, Mehran Mumtaz in silver. So all 3 spinners, and they got 3 spinners to retain, which is the most by any team.
Arif Yaqub was a standout for me in last year's PSL. Honestly,
Was he?
Amazing.
Really?
Now,
Arif Yaqub.
yo, remember the game he won against us? It was Islamabad.
Yeah.
That was
He took 4 or 5 wickets.
4 or 5 wickets. Like it was like, again, he reminds me of one of those just ad match teachers or Qari Saabs who play cricket really well on the side.
It reminds me of that guy who says, unbearable.
Yeah, I forget his
Farhan
name.
Creation.
Oh, I love this guy. Farhan, if you're listening to the podcast, love you, man. He was in Mohammad Haris's wedding for
I
some reason.
highly doubt he was listening to the podcast.
He watches some clips every now and then. I think he followed us for a bit too.
Totally unbearable.
Yeah, love that guy. He was in Mohammad Haris's wedding for some reason. Do you see that?
No.
There was a viral clip of him. Haris is like on his stage, Walima stage, and this guy is just like, Haris, tumne bhi shaadi kar li hai. Ab to Babar ko bhi shaadi karaoge. Something like that. I swear, I may have been dreaming, but that seems like something that actually happened in real life. Yeah. So Arif Yaqub, just a wonderful, like a burst of personality in the last PSL. Really enjoyed him. Ali Raza has actually been making the rounds on Instagram and Twitter, Bashar, because of the
10 wickets in the
No,
final.
not because of that. Well, that too. But before that, when the BGT was happening, Constas, he got him bowled in the Under 19 World Cup, I believe. Clean bowl, in swing. Constas had no idea what was going on. That was the same day that was going viral when Constas kind of scooped and Dil scooped and this scooped and that scooped. Bumrah all over the ground. So, a little bit of an Ali Raza pop going on the TL. Peshawar looked good to me. Babar Azam. You think Babar Azam getting platinum plus some little sugar on the side?
Of course, absolutely. 100%.
Did you hear?
I know that there's been players in the past, high profile players, that the PSL got. So they played them the max capacity in platinum. And plus they got them commercial deals with other companies locally, which gave them enough money to come to the PSL.
I see.
Can't name names, I can't name players or teams, but it has happened.
So if you look at like just the history of these international players who appeared in, telecommunication network ads.
Correct. High profile Australian
All
players.
right, sure. Shane Watson, I'm looking at you. So Babar Azam, did you hear his 7 crore bat deal with CA? Chaudhry Aslam or
News
whatever,
broken.
whatever the thing you were calling it.
News broken by Pro Sports. Saad Nasser. They're saying that Babar Azam is signed for 7 crore with CA.
I feel like some kind of NDA got broken there before Saad got the info.
It is Pakistan. So
I mean, that's like really confidential info, right? Has to be.
super confidential.
Yeah, it's not like the NBA where like everybody's like announced, oh, he's getting $50 million. It's like very under the table and stuff.
I'm actually happy. I want the players to get paid more money. I want them to be financially secure. I want them to be playing cricket with just cricket in mind. Because if you're thinking about like, how is my next month bill going to be paid, then you can't perform at your best.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
How many zeros are there in 1 crore? Moving
7?
on. Moving on. Let's talk about Quetta real quick.
Quetta has released Sarfraz Ahmed. Biggest news ever.
That's
of all
probably the
time.
biggest news, yeah. Sarfraz,
He
come
was
to
the
Karachi, man.
only player, and actually still is for now, who has played for the same team all PSLs.
Yeah, he's the only player who's done that. But Misbah, no. Did
Misbah played 3 seasons in Islamabad, and then the 4th season he played for Zalmi.
Mhm.
I don't know why he went to Zalmi.
I think Shahid Afridi also skipped around. He was in Karachi.
Afridi has played for a lot of teams.
Except for Lahore and I believe...
Zalmi,
Yeah, except for Lahore and
Quetta,
Quetta.
Multan.
Wait, so he's played for Quetta as well?
Yeah.
So he's
His last season was in Quetta.
So the only team he hasn't played for is Qalandars.
Qalandars.
Right, there we go.
And Islamabad.
And Islamabad. Wow, interesting. Yeah, so they have Muhammad Amir. He got relegated to Diamond.
No, he's the mentor.
These
Apparently he's blind.
I am blind. Definitely blind. That looks like a bottom arrow, but okay, whatever. Yeah, so Muhammad Amir is the mentor, and Abrad Ahmed is in Diamond with Riley Rousseau. Riley Rousseau, I believe, was in Platinum last year.
Yeah.
He was a captain as well.
Correct.
Is that still the case for Quetta?
I think they were grooming Saud Shakil as a captain, so I would not be surprised if Saud Shakil becomes their captain this year.
They haven't announced that yet, have they?
Not announced yet.
So Shakil is in gold. Wouldn't that be a little bit too low for your captain?
Gold plus brand ambassador. So basically
Yeah,
diamond.
Basically diamond, but still pretty low.
I think it's still pretty new in the whole PSL scene. So
Because I'm just looking across the platinum categories for all the teams, and Shaheen is the captain of Qalandars. Shadab is the captain of Islamabad. Babar is the captain of Zalmi, and Rizwan is the captain of Sultans, and they're all in platinums. I think it just would be a little bit of a weird situation to have your captain not even be your most expensive player. Is that a right assessment or fair assessment?
for example, like Shan Masood is the captain of Karachi, but he's in gold. He got relegated to gold.
He's the captain of Karachi.
He's the captain.
Wow,
I think he's the captain.
Karachi. Come on. I mean, we're keeping him captain as in the test side on a very subject to like captaincy basis. And Karachi goes out and just gives him captaincy full on. Tough one, man. Tough one.
The guy was Team Junior also in gold, and Akil Hussain was currently the number 1 bowler in the world according to the ICC rankings.
T20 Eyes?
T20 Eyes.
Is he one of those hiding behind the back bowlers?
That's
or?
Sunil Narayan. He's
What
more
am
of
I
a Imad Wasim. Like he has 2 balls. He balls. So one is the left arm in swinger.
In swinger.
He has an in swinger. Sort of like, you know how Imad balls an in swinger?
Yeah, dark
He has
side.
he has an in swinger as well with a new ball. And then he also has a left arm off spin.
And he's the number 1 bowler in T20 Eyes and yet in gold.
Correct. Retained in goal.
Interesting. And then Khwaja Nafi. I've heard a lot about this kid.
Very hyped.
He's
Super hyped.
It's like Saim Ayub level hype, right?
Very hyped.
I've heard a lot about it. Lots of edits going on already from like the Champions Cup and all that. Interesting to see what he does this season. And then who's that? Umar
Usman Tariq, he's the guy who's the finger
I'm
bowler.
so blind right now. Sorry, my guys.
He's the finger spinner bowler who stops in his action and then balls. Have you seen him?
Well, I think I just saw a clip of him right before I was sitting here.
He was
looked
playing in the
interesting.
Abu Dhabi T10.
Yeah,
That's
look
probably
interesting to
rare.
me. I'm into it. Let's move over to Multan Sultans, Ali Tareen's team, who just Ali Tareen. I thought Multan Sultans were, I'm gonna be honest. I thought they were also signed as kind of a boring team. They always have a very like static playing 11. They don't really move a lot. They have too much of a wholesome vibe. They don't have any bad boys. Their character is quite straight. And then I heard Ali Tareen on Relu Katte, and I was like, this guy is unhinged, bro. What the hell is this guy on? So my respect to Multan Sultans has gotten up, and I do think that they have what it takes to do it again. Honestly, they've played 4 straight finals. I think they've won one of them at least, and it's been a tough loss for them, but they've done some good retentions here. Shall you want to read them out?
Rizwan and Osama Mir in the platinum category.
Now, this is the point of contention that Ali Tareen had. It was like Osama Mir in platinum is too high, even for his own sake.
Again, you have to reconsider what is the criteria for picking Osama Mir in the platinum category. And that is the fact that he was one of the best leg spinners of the PSL last year. That's also why I brought him as in diamond. And yeah, it's a performance-based thing. It's a brand value thing. Islamabad is currently playing in the Big Bash, performing pretty well for Melbourne Stars. So he's a top-notch leg spinner in the PSL scene.
Iftikhar Ahmed is that what is that icon next to him? Is that brand ambassador next to him?
I think he's a brand ambassador.
He's the brand ambassador. He's in diamond, which means he's basically getting platinum money, which is interesting, I guess, for Iftikhar Ahmed. He really had a really good PSL season in 2024, so I don't see why that wouldn't be the case. The name that really bites me is Usman Khan. I got really bad flashbacks from just the past 18 months of cricket that Pakistan has played in the T20Is, and tough run for me as a fan.
Yeah. Usman Khan and diamond.
By the way, he just scored a century in BPL.
Nice.
So he's like shitting on our faces as we shit back on him.
Again, Usman Khan, great batsman against poor bowling.
Yeah, we say this.
I'm going to be very shocked if he ever continues to perform consistently at the international level. Just does not have the technique or the right mindset. I don't even know how he's playing for Pakistan. But honestly, I can't tell.
But he is a PSL legend. That's the vibe.
Let's keep it
PSL. If Multan had won last year, he would have probably been player of the tournament. Let's be honest.
Maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
Probably. He was in the running for that, for sure. Chris Jordan in gold and Faisal Akram relegated down to silver. They got a lot of space open there. They're probably going to want to pack it up with some really interesting draft picks coming in on the 13th. Now the final team, Lahore Qalandars. You got Shaheen Afridi Fakhar Zaman in platinum. Interesting. I think Fakhar Zaman in platinum is a really good pick. Haris Rauf as I believe, brand ambassador. Yep, brand ambassador diamond. But that just means he's getting platinum money, which is good for him. Haris Rauf deserves that. Sikandar Raza is in diamond as well, which is good for him as well, as Zimbabwean and, ex-Pakistani national. Met him at the GT20, very nice guy, lovely guy. Abdullah Shafiq got relegated to gold.
And Lahore actually made a post of Abdullah Shafiq being relegated. It was actually hilarious, but also very sad. Like, if I'm Abdullah Shafiq,
I'm pissed.
Seeing my team make a social media post about his relegation.
It was like, what, congratulations, relegation complete or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
What, Qalandars, like Samin bhai, what are you doing? Like, get a better social media guy. Come on, this is tough. You got Zaman Khan and Jahandad Khan both in gold as well, and David Wiese in silver. You mentioned that there has to be some sort of deal going on there, maybe a commercial deal. Whereas, even though David Wiese is in silver, he's probably getting gold money. Is that the vibe, Bashar?
I can't say that
for sure, but
maybe he's getting some commercial money.
Mm-hmm. That's the vibe. Okay, so who did Islu release? Islu released Fahim Ashraf and Alex Hayos. Zalmi released retained 3 spinners in Arif Yaqub, Sufyan Muqim, Mehran Mumtaz. KK released Shoaib Malik, which was big news. MS released Abbas Hafidi and Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali had the most wickets in the 2024 PSL 9.
Abbas Hafidi had also been consistently in the top 5 wicket takers the past 2 years.
And he's been playing for Pakistan. He was in the World Cup squad. And he was in the tours in South Africa and Australia. So that's a really interesting release for me. I mean, Ali Tareen did explain why that happened. And he also kind of hinted that Abbas Hafidi is already in talks with another team being drafted. Where do you think he's going?
Probably in the platinum category.
Yeah.
Some are saying Karachi Kings. I'm just really excited to see what teams pick what local players in the platinum category. Because sometimes, because you have to pick a player in the platinum category, it can sometimes become an issue because that player may not deserve to be in the platinum category. For example, I hate to take names, but Mohammad Nawaz last year was in the platinum category for Karachi Kings. And then the year before, Haider Ali was in the platinum category for Karachi Kings. And then because they picked him in the platinum category, they had to play him all the matches and he was out of form. So after 6 matches, they were forced to drop him. And then he went unpicked in the last year's draft to the point where he was picked as a supplementary player by Islamabad, and then he performed the way he did. But just those highs and lows are quite insane to me.
What's the supplementary salary looking like? Is it emerging level or is it like different?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Can't tell you.
Because he was in gold this year, which is like 50K?
50K. Up to 50K.
Up to 50K. Not bad for Haider Ali for a comeback season. And Sarfraz Ahmed and Hasnain were also released, which is an interesting call for me because Hasnain had quite a good year this year with the Champions Cup in the ODI format. and as well as just playing for the Pakistan team. He's been pretty good.
I agree. Hasnain should be picked up. Nawaz should be picked up. I think it's going to be an interesting draft coming up.
What are your most excited players in the draft? Can we name some of the players that we have?
Yeah,
just
so
look this up.
some potential big names that have signed up for the PSL that have been announced so far: David Warner, Tim Southey, Finn Allen, Daryl Mitchell, Usman Khwaja, Adam Milne, Sean Abbott, Matthew Short. I believe there's Mujibur Rahman, Shakib Ul Hasan also. The official list of all platinum players in the foreign category have not been released yet.
I think they have.
They have not. They've only released
Gold category.
Gold.
Okay.
So diamond and platinum is still left. I guess they'll just wait till the actual draft day to release it. But the teams who are involved are aware of which players are available to them.
We got some Canadian players in there too.
Yeah,
I got Aaron Johnson, Hamza Tariq, Jeremy Gordon, Kaleem Sana. Respects. Why are there English player names here? I thought England wasn't, the ECB weren't giving NOCs to their players.
They may be like retired English players, or I don't know exactly
yeah,
why.
Most of the names are quite retired.
Yeah.
Quite retired, I would say. But again, this is the gold category for it, so I don't want to be judging too hard on this.
But I'm kind of sad that the English players aren't coming this year, because here the joke was that if you want to see who's the next big T20 player for England, just watch the last PSL. Harry Brook was famously picked in the silver category for Lahore Qalandars, and then he went on to play for England, and then he was one of the highest paid players in the IPL the following year. Dawood Malan was an OG Peshawar Zalmi player, and then he went on to play for England in all three formats. Jordan Cox was a player for Islamabad United this past season, and then he went on to play a test for England. Point is, a lot of emerging English players get a chance to come to the BPL or the PSL to showcase their talent, to get familiarized with these conditions, and then they go make it big on the English cricket team.
These are the picks, by the way, that are going to go in this order for the first round Platinum 1 picks. It goes Lahore, it goes Karachi, Quetta, then it goes Peshawar, Multan, then Islamabad. And then the Platinum 2 round picks goes Quetta, Karachi, Quetta, Karachi. So there's some picks and trades and stuff that have been applied there for the reason of Quetta going twice and Karachi going twice and no other team going at all. And then you go back into the diamond picks with Karachi, Zalmi, and then Islamabad United, and then so on and so forth. The list goes on and on. You guys can check all this out on PSL's Instagram page. But very interesting. In Platinum 1 round, I'm very interested in how that goes now. I want to know what Zalmi does. I want to know what Islamabad does. And honestly, I want to know what Karachi does. They have the second pick.
I think the first pick is the most important one. What does Lahore Qalandars pick?
Who do they need?
I think in terms of like brand value and just hype, Warner. Like having David Warner and Fakhar Zaman opening, that is a dream of any T20 freak.
That's cinema, right? That's box office. People are going to tune into that. That's just going to be like 6 overs 80 or 6 overs 30 for 2. It's going to be insane.
I don't know why, but I feel like they might Qalandars might pick Russi in the platinum category.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I do feel like Islamabad will probably pick like Sean Abbott or Jason Holder, because they released Fahim Ashraf, so now they need a fast bowling all-rounder. So maybe even Tim Southey.
Yeah, interesting. I'm looking forward to this, man. When is this happening again?
This is happening Jan 13th.
Jan 13th. We'll be tuning in right after. We'll do a draft review. We'll have a clearer picture on what the squad looks like for the PSL 10 coming up. For all the teams, we'll discuss which teams are looking more favorable, which teams are sort of coming in shorthanded. I'm looking at you, Karachi, already. I already know this is going to happen. And we'll see which teams are in the rebuilding process and which teams are kind of going out for the gold again. It's going to be an interesting few weeks. The PSL is coming in full swing this year. They're challenging, or maybe not challenging. Challenging is a tough word. They're definitely going up against the IPL. That's the vibe. And the IPL and the PSL are going to run Concord, which is going to be an interesting experiment, and seeing how the broadcasting rights go, how just fan engagement
the
viewership feels. It'll definitely be overshadowed by the IPL, because the IPL is also like a 6-week or 8-week tournament. It's extremely long. The PSL might just come in and go, and you'll still be playing league games in the IPL. That might just be the case. But it'll be interesting how those two work. This 10th edition of the PSL is extremely important, because right after this, we get 2 new teams announced, 2 new owners, more players in the draft in the local and foreign categories will be able to be picked up from the next season onwards. And we'll just see what the 2 new teams are. I think 8 teams in PSL seems right about the right number. I would love to see who these new teams are going to be. Are they going to be from Punjab? Are they going to be from Sindh?
One's going to be
KB?
Sialkot.
Is that a fact?
Just know.
Who's your
Just know I told you first.
who's your fakta, bro? You got a fakta?
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Sialkot is going to be one of those teams. I think they're going to go with Sindh with the other team. They're going to probably go Hyderabad, or they're probably going to go one of those.
It could be
Separate.
Sialkot, or if they want to go for like Punjab Central, like it could be another like a Faisalabad team.
Yeah, it's good. They're definitely going to be go Punjab. The second team they should go Sindh, is my opinion. But they might just go KP as well. I don't know. It'll be an interesting thing to see what other two teams comes in and how the PSL changes, because it's been a good 10 years, a decade of the PSL, man. Imagine that. I remember watching Irfan Junaid's video when Islamabad was winning, I believe, their second title.
Yeah.
And it was in Karachi, and Roman Reis was there, and that's how I got reintroduced to the PSL. And it's been a wild ride from watching that video in the comfort of my bed, and then to going to actually work with the PSL and Islamabad United, and then now at this position. So, onwards and upwards for everybody, for all the franchises involved. PSL is a very important aspect of Pakistan cricket, which we cover a lot and we love. And we're Pakistan cricket leaning, so we really want this thing to succeed. And if anybody needs our expertise and our services, you know where to find us.
I think Pakistan has two things that they can export to the world. Number one being Coke Studio. Pasuri was one of the biggest songs of 2023. And people knew Pasuri, Coke Studio, Pakistan. And then the second one, I think, is cricket and Pakistan cricket, PSL. So it's one of the biggest brands that Pakistan has. Oftentimes, very disappointed to see how it actually operates when it happens behind the scenes and how incompetent some of the staff is in the PSL. And how the PCB just keeps trying to cannibalize one of their biggest products by launching more leagues against it. For example, the Pakistan Junior League. Instead of just engaging the current franchises, they had new owners, they had new names, new teams.
Even the women's league, Anitharim was talking about, like, let the owners of this current PSL lot be the owners of the women team. They can run like how they run it in the 100 or
The Big Bash.
The Big Bash, right? They can have a day game with the women's team and a night game with the men's team, and they can be the same teams. It'll just create a lot more eyeballs and a lot more hype. But lo and behold, it's when I turned around to see who stabbed me in the back on my own.
On that note, guys,
On that light
thank
note,
you for tuning in. We were trying our best to make sense of the PSL of the draft. It gets technical. I know that. We tried our best to explain it to you guys.
I think I learned a lot. Honestly, I came into this blind and I came out with at least some sense and skeleton of how this thing works. And now I'm ready for the 13th, man. I'm all in.
Let's go. We'll see you guys soon after the PSL. We'll do a PSL roundup, squad review,
Draft roundup.
draft roundup.
Yeah, definitely. If you guys are listening in, please do leave a review on Spotify and Apple Music. And if you guys are tuning in from YouTube, like, subscribe, share, do all the nice stuff that you guys do. And let's have a conversation down below and see what's going on there.
Or even in our Discord server. We've just revamped it. There's changes happening. We want to be improving your experience in our server. The goal with the server and with the podcast was always to build community. And I advertise the Discord server as a non-toxic place to discuss cricket with people who have the same interests as you.
And they're extremely funny. Everybody in that Discord server is absolutely hilarious.
We got a meme channel.
Yes.
I just launched an edits channel where people can come in and post edits. I sometimes find myself doom scrolling on these edits. Some of them are extremely well made. Join in on the conversation, give your feedback, and get an opportunity to, interact with us as well.
And 3 words: meme review coming. So Discord, keep your eyes open. All right, guys, we're tuning out. It's been over 15 minutes since we've been chatting. Bashar, thank you very much for your time, and you put a lot of hours in to basically understand it and then relay it back to me and to the viewers. Appreciate you. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys in the next episode.